Happy Labor Day, Dolphins fans, as we get into the final week until we get the season started. Let's do a Dolphins mailbag. I am Nick Roloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. And we're going to start with my guy, JB. This was filmed on our Thursday live show. Make sure you subscribe and join us every Thursday for our live shows. He says, just because I'm a Western New York fan, I'd like to know how you think Miami will fare against Buffalo in both games. They play in Week 3 in Buffalo on Thursday Night Football, and then they play in Week 10 at home in Miami. I have the Dolphins losing both of those games. I am sorry, and I hate to be negative, Nick, but I will not pick the Dolphins to beat the Bills until they do it. They beat them for the first time under Mike McDaniel in September of 2022, but then they've lost to him every single time since, whether it is in the regular season or in the playoffs. So, they got to prove to me that Josh Allen isn't their daddy's anymore. Sorry, I know it's harsh. It's the truth. He owns us. Prove to me you can beat the Bills and Josh Allen, whether it's at home or on the road, and then we could have a conversation about how I view those two organizations moving forward. Shout out to BR. Which two Dolphins are you looking forward to seeing the most? One on offense and defense? Fun question. Defense, I'll start there. Chop Robinson. I know it's kind of a, boring pick because he's our first-round pick from 2024, had a really strong rookie season, top 5 edge rusher in football in the final 10 weeks of the year. But I just can't wait to see him, man. I truly believe he is going to be the cornerstone of our defense for years to come. And I'm really excited to watch him take that second-year jump, hopefully. Now, on offense, I have a hot take. I'm going Malik Washington. I love Tyreek. I love Jalen Waddle. He's my favorite player on the team. I love Achane. I love Ollie Gordon. But Malik Washington is going to be used in such a fun way. He's our gadget guy, end-arounds, screens, pop passes. But I think he's also shown that he has a lot of rapport and trust with Tua Tagovailoa as the slot receiver over the middle of the field, based off what we've seen in preseason and training camp. I think Malik Washington's in for a very big year. I think he's going to surprise a lot of NFL fans in terms of how well he actually plays this year for Miami, and I can't wait to watch it happen. And make sure you follow me over on Twitter. @Nick_Roloff is my handle because we'll be tweeting about news, rumors, opinions, highlights, clips, everything you need around the Dolphins outside of our YouTube videos you can find over on my Twitter @Nick_Roloff. Catch with a question. Would you trade Bradley Chubb for a corner? Have to depend on which corner it is. If it's a legit top 35 corner in football, yeah, I probably would. If I'll be honest, if you could tell me I could trade Bradley Chubb for Greg Newsome right now, I'd probably do it. Or Bradley Chubb for a Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb in a 5th for Denzel Ward, sure. But I think Bradley Chubb is an integral part of what Miami wants to do defensively this year. They want to be dominant in the trenches defensively and kind of mask that secondary. And I know you would still have Jalen Phillips, Chop, and then Jordyn, and then you add a legit CB1 there, maybe. But I think this defense wants to predicate itself on getting after the quarterback and dominating the trenches. And Bradley Chubb's a key part of that. So I don't think I'm just willing to trade him. And you need depth at that position as well because of the injury history with Jalen Phillips. Because there's a high chance he gets hurt. There's a high chance Chubb gets hurt. And that's why you signed Jordyn. That's why you need those guys also surrounding Chop Robinson. Mr. Flakes. It's an intriguing icon you got there, Mr. Flakes. Who would be your comeback player of the year for the Dolphins this season? That's a good question. I mean, there's clearly two players you have to choose from. And we just mentioned both of them. It's either Jalen Phillips or Bradley Chubb. I mean, Bradley Chubb didn't play a game last year after he was recovering from his massive knee surgery that he had after getting hurt at the end of the 2023 campaign. And then Jalen Phillips only played in 3 games and a quarter before tearing his ACL. So those two edge rushers missed basically all of last season and are key contributors to this defense this year. So I would have to imagine one of those two, whoever has the best season, would be the pick. I think my prediction is Jalen Phillips. If Jalen Phillips stays healthy and plays 15 games this year or more, I think he's going to have an 8.5, 9 sack season. So I'll probably choose Jalen Phillips. Who you got? Week 1 is just under a week away. MIA for the Dolphins, IND for the Colts. Maybe I'm biased, but I think the Dolphins get a win by double digits. I think the Colts aren't that good, and I don't trust Daniel Jones. So give me the Colts to lose. Miami, MIA. Isaac with a question. New England is getting swept without a question unless Tua's hurt. I know that Tua beats New England every time they play them, and the Dolphins swept the Patriots last season with Tua missing one of those games. But the truth is this. The Patriots are one of the most improved teams in the NFL this season. They added Milton Williams. They added Stephon Diggs. They added Carlton Davis, Harold Landry, Robert Spillane. They improved drastically at head coach with Mike Vrabel, who raises the floor of that football team. And I know it sucks for me to say this, but I'm a big believer in Drake May. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he is going to take a step forward and unfortunately be their next franchise guy for the next 10 years. And I know it's hard for Dolphins fans to hear that, but listen, I'm not that biased. I can use my eyes to tell that the Patriots are a much improved football team from a year ago. And they, I think, are very similar to Miami. I think the Dolphins are better. Don't get it twisted. But I think they're very close enough to where they won't sweep them. I think each team wins at home. I think Miami beats them in week 2, Sunday, 1 p.m. Heat. And I think the Dolphins probably lose in New England in the final week of the year because it's going to be freezing cold in Foxborough, Massachusetts. So I know it's not great to hear, but hey, I do think the Dolphins split with the Patriots this year. We got more questions to answer here, but we got to tell you about our sponsor, which is Prize Picks, the daily fantasy sports app, where you can get in on the action for the Dolphins football this season. You can also take your favorite players like Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Doesn't matter. And with college football here as well, it is so fun to play on Prize Picks. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You get your picks right, you cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks is the best way to get in on the action, which players are going off, which ones aren't. You make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long. I have an entry in for the first week of the professional football season. Take advantage of the free pick from Prize Picks. More than half a yard for Dak Prescott in the opening game. More than Joe Flacco passing yards and more than Demario Douglas receiving yards are the 3 that I'm going with for week 1. You can join me and take my picks. You can fade my picks, but download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Moving on, we got Danny May with a question. Just trade Reek for a second. Let's get Jordyn Tyson next year. All right. I don't know a lot about Jordyn Tyson's game, Coop. We're going to bring producer Coop on, who knew instantly he plays for the Sun Devils. I am just not in the business of scouting a ton of collegiate players. I know the big name, the quarterbacks, and some of the top guys like Caleb Downs. But, Coop, give me a little bit of information on Jordyn Tyson.
Yeah, started his collegiate career at Colorado, then transferred to Arizona State, and he was Sam Levitt's #1 target last season. Now, he did get hurt in the playoff game. He missed the game against Texas, which they lost in overtime. Look, I think he's a really big physical receiver. He's 6'2", 200 out of Allen, Texas, and he had 1,100 yards last year and I believe 10 touchdowns as well. So he's an absolute stud. If I was Miami, I'd be scouting him, and I think that'd be a great pickup.
Okay, so I'll keep my eye on Jordyn Tyson, Danny May. I'll also add this, that Miami will be in on a wide receiver next offseason. Whether you trade Tyreek Hill at the deadline or not, he has a $52.8 million cap hit next season. And you save $36 million in cap space if you cut him after the season. So if Tyreek Hill is traded, you'll obviously save that money and get a pick. If you don't and you play him this year and then just cut him after the year, you save that money anyway. The point is, Tyreek Hill will not be on the Dolphins football team next year in 2026. I feel abundantly confident about that. So I will probably be in the majority here by saying Miami will be eyeing wide receiver 2 next year. But who knows? Maybe Malik Washington is elite and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine ends up being productive. And it's just like, well, maybe we don't need to really address wide receiver high in the draft or in free agency because those two can complement Jalen Waddle really well. More to come here with questions. We'll get over to Catch here in a second. But the 2025 NFL season is officially here. Subscribe today. Don't miss a thing of Dolphins football. I'm very excited for this upcoming season. Hopefully you guys are with me. Sub today and join me for every game. Speaking of Catch, here he is. If we start the year 2-4 or something around there, would you trade Hill or really anyone? Absolutely. I've said this. The Dolphins absolutely need to start the year at bare minimum 5-3. I hope that they're 6-2. It's certainly possible to be 6-2. I think they have a very favorable schedule. But if they are worse than 5-3 and they're like 4-4 even, I would consider trading people because the early parts of the schedule are so easy. So if they're below 500 around the trade deadline and people are calling for Tyreek Hill, offering a second or a third round pick, no hesitations asked because, like I said, he's not going to be on the roster next season. So why not get rid of him if this season isn't going anywhere, which it obviously would not be if you start that poorly. Predict it for me. What will the Miami Dolphins record be in 2025? Get down in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. A couple more questions here coming in from BR. Do you think the Dolphins will pursue Asante Samuel Jr. in the future? I probably lean no. Now, if you missed it this week, an update from Jeremy Fowler. Fowler reported that Asante Samuel Jr. will have a CT scan in October. And once that scan happens, assuming he gets cleared to return to football, the teams will then reach back out to Asante Samuel Jr. to potentially sign him. So he would not be signed until October potentially. Miami's cornerback room would have to be absolutely atrocious if they want to pursue Asante Samuel Jr. at that time. So it's possible, but I am not projecting it by any stretch of the imagination. Ziggy Zag, does Tua have the ability to override McDaniel and call an audible? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So what usually is the case, if you are not familiar, usually Mike McDaniel or whoever the play caller is will not call just one play into the quarterback. I hope you guys know that. They will call multiple. And so many teams do it different ways to where they could send in a package and then have different plays that the quarterback can audible from that package. Or he could change up the formation if you wanted to, if you feel very good about the command from your quarterback. But yeah, like there isn't one call that comes in and it's just like, well, that's it. No, Tua, if they run a play to beat man and Tua recognizes pre-snap, hey, it's going to be cover 2 or cover 3, well, then he's going to audible the play into something from that specific formation and personnel that creates a cover 2 or cover 3 beater. So, yeah, Tua has the ability to override McDaniel at any time and call an audible. Follow on Twitter. Like I mentioned, if you want more Dolphins content, that's the place to get it. And if you missed your chance to get on today's mailbag, well, you can ask me a question over on Twitter. Just go give me a follow at Nick_Roloff.